Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our final guests here on the India Today South Conclave 2018. Our concluding session here at the India Today South Conclave 2018 is one where we are going to focus on an interesting topic. Women in public life where the personal is political. We have with us 4 standout artists, all of whom at various stages have acted in cinema here. Some of them have actively participated in public life. Gautami, actor. Khushbu Sundar, who's not just an actor but also a spokesperson now of the Congress party. Taapsee Pannu, who's acted both in cinema here in Hyderabad as well as cinema now in the Hindi film industry. And Kajal Aggarwal. So welcome all 4 of you to this very special panel. And I'm going to start with a question that perhaps, I don't know whether it troubles the acting industry alone, but should trouble all of us, Indians and global citizens, which is the Me Too campaign. We saw Harvey Weinstein being exposed by a number of artists in Hollywood on charges of sexual harassment. And I'm going to ask 4 of you at the start, are there many Harvey Weinsteins lurking in Collywood, in Tollywood, in the Tamil film industry, in Bollywood as well? Is that true or not? Who's going to be the first to say it does? Who's going to tell us? Yes?
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's a very important question right now, Rajdeep, because we see this kind of an attitude all over globally. Why I decided to speak first is because I think I grew up in films. I started at the age of 7, and at 47 today, 40 years in cinema. Probably I have always maintained that I have been the luckiest of the lot, where I have never seen one person who would hold my hand and pull me or give me an indecent proposal. So I have been the luckiest of lot. But yes, I have been hearing a lot of stories, and it worries me because why people think that these kind of indecent proposals is what is going to take a woman forward? Or do they think that a woman, it's not only in films, but in any industry, do they think that women are so easily available, or are they so desperate that they're going to make it by accepting the indecent proposal? What we saw in Hollywood, what we are seeing, even yesterday, another actor spoke, called Shruti Srinath. She spoke about some producers in the South. So, you know, it sets you thinking rather that where are we heading? Because I have not seen anything like that in my career.
You haven't seen it, so you're not joining the Me Too campaign. Is anyone on
this?
Anyone on this stage willing to join the Me Too campaign and say, yes,
no,
I have been subject to that kind of sexual harassment?
But I'm not saying that if you're not subjected to that, does not mean that you don't stand with the women and say, yes, I support these women who have been victimized. I do stand with them.
Okay, and you stand with, yes, ma'am.
So, and it's also not just about saying, I have been subjected to this kind of behavior and abuse. It's also about understanding that it's in an intrinsic part of human nature, and then therefore you have to, as a process of evolution, you have to fight against it.
I'm just wondering whether it's different in the southern film industry to the Hindi film industry. You've done both. What is the reality?
Good evening, everyone. Reality, well, again, even though I don't have a beautiful career span like ma'am, but well, again, a lucky person who didn't come across such kind of an offer or abuse from anyone in the industry, be it South or be it in Bollywood. But yes, I know of few actresses who have confided and then come up to me and just in regular discussion said that, okay, you know, this is what has happened. And sometimes actually they've acted like, oh, I can't believe this didn't happen to you, because we've heard some really direct proposals or offers coming in from some really big names from South, considering you've worked for so long and you don't come from a very secured film background who can assure you that you don't have to go through any such thing to get films. So how come you have not? There have been people who actually have had a situation of disbelief almost that you haven't come across.
So the casting
like
couch exists?
Yeah, it does.
It's a reality?
Yeah, it does exist.
Kajal, it's a reality?
Well, good
In
evening,
21st
everybody.
century India, it's a reality in the film industry.
Well, I'd
whether
like
in
to-
Telugu, Tamil, Hindi cinema, across.
More than just Telugu, Tamil and Hindi cinema, I think it's across all sorts of professions. It's not about just the film industry. I think this happens all over, be it politics, be it the corporate world, be it anywhere. And I think it's an attitudinal thing where it's a personal choice, right, that people make. And there's no right and wrong to that. It's a very subjective thing. There are no judgments. If someone feels the need to go ahead by doing something with somebody, it's their call, it's their prerogative. But again, I think everyone over here on this dais, we've all been very fortunate, we've all been very lucky, and it's very sad that we use such words because that's supposed to be the normal way of life. You're not supposed to be lucky that you've not been hit on. It's supposed to be the normal way of life. But well, I think it's a very personal prerogative.
Therefore, all four of you would join a Me Too campaign. If a Me Too campaign was engineered within an Indian scenario, would you all support it? Would you all endorse it?
We would show solidarity.
You would
but
all show
we've
solidarity.
not gone through
No, but
it
I need to understand this Me Too is only in terms of your professional proposal, or it's Me Too regarding, yes, I have been harassed or at least been offered such kind of a proposal or something in public or in your life otherwise, or it has to be only to get work. If it's in general when you've come across such proposals or offers in public in your life in general, then I think most of us will be a part of this Me Too, because I guess all of us, women being in India, we some or the other point in our lives, be it during our teenage or adolescence, or when we grow up, eventually start working, travel in public places, we've come across situations where we have been harassed some way or the other. So if that is also part of Me Too, then I guess #Me Too.
Okay, but all four of you are extremely independent women. And I want to understand, is the film industry heavily male dominated even today in the Telugu film industry, Tamil, across the film industry? Does it discriminate against women, yes or no? Gautami, does it discriminate against women?
I think you're asking me to state the obvious and acknowledge the obvious.
I want you to acknowledge the obvious and tell me what is the solution.
I will be surprised if anyone says anything else here on this stage right now.
Have you all accepted it? Is it a way of life? You've got to accept the fact that this is a male-dominated...
That's the first step towards the change. Sorry, ma'am, I'm cutting you. But you have to accept it and then work towards changing it. You cannot change it unless and until you accept that this is the problem.
Have you seen any change? Is there any sign of change?
It's not about a sign of change. It's about doing what you need to do at that point in time. It's not about generations, because I know women, several generations ahead of mine, who have stood up for themselves, who've done what they need to against all odds. I have made decisions in my life which I know have been right for me, which is the correct thing for me to do, which is, as they say, it's the just thing for me to do at that time. None of those decisions have been easy, whether it's coming to the industry, whether it's about my life afterwards, anything. But the only thing is, one has to make those decisions to do the right thing, because that's the only way you start fighting to right this imbalance. There is an imbalance, there is a bias, there is especially a very, very loaded bias against women in all walks of life, not just the film industry.
Have you tried to protest ever? Have you ever told your film directors, film producers, enough is enough? You cannot have only the male dominating the industry? That we also are co-stars, we should have equal space?
Yes, of course. I have refused to do certain scenes. I have refused to speak dialogues. I have refused films based on certain kinds of characterizations and certain kinds of lyrics or song movements or whatever. I have, yes, infinitely so. And the worst part could be funny in some people's eyes. The worst part was one of the earliest times when I did this. I was very young, very early in my career. There was a dialogue where I had to fall at somebody's feet and say something. I said, I won't do that. And really what took me aback till today is the look of utter bafflement on that man's face. He couldn't understand why I had refused to do that. That's really how sad the situation is. A man does not get why a woman says, I'm not subservient to you.
Well put. That you believe that there are still all those men out there who can't... Did you still retain the role?
Oh yeah, I was the heroine.
You were still the heroine. Okay, so good. It wasn't as if the director tomorrow said, if you don't do this scene, I'm taking you out of the film.
Then he could have taken his work elsewhere.
Okay. Khushbu, have you ever protested?
I have protested, not in films. I think I rebelled very early when I decided to speak against my father and take my mom and my brothers out of the house and decided to take care of themselves, being the youngest in the family, because I didn't like the way he stood up, saying that this is how a woman should be. I did not like the way an abusive husband he was, or the way he thought this is how a woman is supposed to be in a man's world.
And how old were you then when you
16.
did this? So at 16, you took your mother and the rest of the family out of the house.
Absolutely.
Because your father was an abusive father.
Absolutely. And he said, there will be a day when you will crawl on all your fours and come begging to me. And I told him, I still remember the date very clearly, 12 September 1986, I told my dad that probably I would kill my brother and mom and jump in front of a running train, but I will never come back to you. And I told him that there will be a day when you will really regret from some corner looking up at me when you see my name, where India is going to talk about there is one person called Khushbu and she has made a mark of herself as a woman. And I am glad that it's been so many years now, 31 years, and I haven't seen my father, and I don't ever want to see him again. So it's not about films alone. I think as a woman, we need to take certain decisions when you see or you feel that in this male-dominated world, if you think that your individuality, your respect, your dignity is crushed, be it your own father, you have to fight back.
Is it easier possibly than it was when Khushbu was 16 today, you think, for a young woman, Kajal or Taapsee, to take those tough stands? Will society come and stand up for you?
No, so I do believe it's easier. Definitely. We are in the world of social media. There's absolute transparency in today's day and age. People would think twice before, there's this whole fear of getting exposed. And we have the ability now to just opine on any issue or any controversy or anything that we'd like to talk about. And the whole world is there to hear. In fact, media picks up quotes from social media. So that's the kind of day and age that we live in.
Then if you end up taking help of social media, as a woman, you have to be ready for the kind of backlash and trolling you're going to get once you are out there saying things. Extending my answer towards your question that you asked about the male-dominant world, I've been fighting this since past 4 years, since the time I realized that I am a replaceable object in a film, whereas a hero is not. I am the person who's going to take the brunt of a film's failure, not a hero. I will be the one who will be tagged as the iron leg and not the hero. The day I realized that this is not going to end, I have to do my bit to make the difference. It's been 4 years, and till date, I think I'm a villain in a lot of people's eyes here. I get trolled for at least one message or tweet every day because I've stood and said, no, I will not. I'll give you an example. One of my directors, happened in one of my South films, narrated the whole story, and then when we went on floor and started shooting my introduction scene, which was one of the big reasons for me to do the film, he changed the entire scene because the hero said so. And I was like, this is one of the big reasons for me to sign the film. Why did you change my introduction scene? He said, because the hero said so. But I said, but you didn't inform me. He's like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to.
Really?
Yeah, to an extent that I've been thrown out of the film because the hero's previous film didn't work, so the budget of the film fell. So it was my remuneration which was asked, okay, you cut down on a remuneration or you're out. And I was out.
Similarly, if you don't have dates, you're out.
You're replaceable.
You either give X number of days or you're just
That day I realized, I was like, I'm going to make a name for myself where people will take me, wait for me. And trust me, last 2 films of mine in Telugu, Anando Brahma, which I did last year, they waited for a year to get my date. And I made sure I'm going to do that film on profit-sharing basis, just like any other hero would, and earn a fucking crore over that.
Wow. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's well put.
Even the film I'm doing right now.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, even the one I'm doing right now. I mean, that's kind of a role which they waited for me for months. It's like, whenever you're going to give us dates, we're going to make sure we're going to get a hero who's going to be flexible enough so that he adjusts the dates. So I'm happy, I'm thankful to that hero who adjusted the dates with me. I'm thankful to that producer who realized that if not her, nobody else can do this role. And I'm part of that film, making sure no matter how many films I'm doing in Hindi, I'll come down to South, do one film in a year in Telugu, but the film that really needs me, and I'm not a replaceable object in the film anymore.
Well said. Well put. I'm just wondering whether this energy is coming from a post-pink Taapsee Pannu. No means no, right?
Well, that really helped me catapult towards this direction, yes, for sure, because that helped me assure that you're in the right direction, keep doing whatever you're doing.
That's great. Yes,
But
Gautami.
there's one thing here. I really liked what Kajal said about being able to speak out, and you have social media at your fingertips so that you can create a noise and raise awareness. But unfortunately, and I say this because I spend a lot of time talking to real people in everyday life, you know, people who wake up, go to offices, the regular life. And this has not touched their lives. These are girls who are young, who are educated, who are smart, talented, so capable, and they live in fear of having their hard-won career taken away from them, or being asked to throw their career off the tracks because they have other obligations as defined by family, like marriage or kids or whatever. And this is a real worry for these girls, young women. And they don't have this, this ability to reach out to social media and say, you know, this is what's happening with me, come and stand with me and protest, because they're not a name. So my concern is these girls, these multitude of women out there who are fighting so hard to make their mark in everyday, ordinary lives.
Can, you know, I think, again, you know, the anonymous woman has an even bigger struggle, in a sense, than a celebrity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're, in a sense, when you're speaking on stage, you have the, you know, you have the ability to speak as a star. So you'll be probably accepted a bit more. You believe that if it's an anonymous woman out there who wants to say the same thing that Gautami wants, much more difficult for her. The question, therefore, is, yesterday on the South Conclave, we had Prakash Raj, the actor. Now, here is an actor who takes on the political establishment. What if a woman did the same? Would she get the same kind of attention? Would she be able to get away with it? Or would she be immediately a soft target?
No,
much more than a male star.
No, she'll definitely be a soft target.
Because you're in politics now, and
yes.
I'm just wondering, in politics also, do you feel that a woman, particularly in a state like Tamil Nadu, where male-dominated culture, forget about Jayalalitha for a moment, but in a male-dominated culture, if Khushbu speaks, are you the subject of ridicule, of
Absolutely.
Of envy?
I think the minute a woman wants to speak, first, we still live in a society where men do not want to accept that women are intelligent, women are educated, and even if they are not educated, women have their mind of their own, then they have the rights to speak what they have to speak. They still live in the closed doors where they feel that this is how women should speak, this is how she should dress, this is how she should behave. They still live in those days where they say, you know, a woman who laughs a lot is not to be believed. Hasti aurton pe bharosa nahi karna chahiye. We still live in those Stone Age period. But I think what Prakash said yesterday, kudos to him, because it needs a lot of guts to speak what he said. And I think we all need to speak up. It's not about a man or woman, because it's not men alone who vote. It's not only the educated, the urban areas which votes. I think we all together, we vote to choose a government which is going to take the country forward, and nobody, be it BJP or be it Congress or any other party or any local parties, the state parties, they do not have the rights to decide as to what I speak, what I eat, what I wear, and where I go, who I speak to, or what the hell I do with my life. I will decide what I want to do with my life, and nobody has the rights to tell me what is right and what is wrong, except my mother who lives with me. Nobody has the rights to decide.
So no one has the right to be a moral policeman out there telling women how to dress. What would you like to tell the moral police out there? Who want to tell women what to do on Valentine's Day, who will tell women whether you should be wearing jeans to college.
Well, mind your own business. It's our personal prerogative, so I don't think anyone can comment on those kind of things. And the fact that the person comments by itself is very condescending.
You know, because there have been colleges, even in Chennai, where there have been rules put on women whether they can wear jeans and, or not. And this is in 2017 India.
I think that's also worth looking at, were those rules imposed by men or women?
So you think most of the rules are imposed by men for women?
No, I'm saying women also do their part sometimes, because what actually struck me very interestingly in this whole discussion is I actually haven't come across that much of open chauvinism or, you know, condescension in that sense. But what I have come across is a lot of astonishment among men. You know, when you say something, when you stand up for something, when you have an opinion and you voice it strongly and you make a clear argument for what you have to say, they're kind of taken aback. But she's a woman and she's talking like this. It's more a question of being taken aback by simply not expecting that from a woman, rather than saying, you're a woman, shut up and sit down. You know? And this is a question of times having to change, because the men who are behaving this way are men who've been brought up in a certain way. So it's about being a victim of, you know, history, heritage, upbringing, culture, and all of that. So that is what is progressing, because we have young women here like Taapsee and Kajal here who are saying, no, my generation, we can do this, we can be this way. That's because they're a product of a different kind of upbringing from their parents. So it will get better as we keep moving down the line.
But it is still a very conservative milieu. The way you dress, for example, the way you talk, do you find it difficult in a way to, do you get sort of people looking at you strangely at times in a conservative milieu in a Chennai or a Hyderabad?
All the time. They better look at me, because if I'm an actor and they're not looking at me, then that means I'm not famous enough. So I guess I want them to look at me. But having said that, yeah, putting up a bikini picture on social media, just being happy that I've made a body worth wearing a bikini and getting a immense backlash which goes on till date. I think I need to be prepared for that. But
do you have any regrets?
Of course not. I worked my ass off to get that body. I'll put up another one once I get that body again. So, I've gone through such trolling and I've replied back. I believe an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. So I'm not going to troll them back. I remember, I'll share one instance. I hope I made like a good body. I would like to believe so. For Judwa wearing a bikini. And then I put it up to share with my social media followers. And then there's one guy saying, तुम्हारे भाई को कैसा लगेगा ये पिक्चर देख के, तुम्हारे को शर्म नहीं आती ऐसी चीज, ऐसे कपड़े डाल के तुम पिक्चर डालती हो? तो and I replied to that guy saying, sorry, भाई है नहीं, बहन का opinion चलेगा? So and then my sister was ready to put up her bikini picture saying, you know, this is my answer to whatever you wanted to ask. So I guess if you answer them like that, and this is the way they're going to take a step back, saying you're not getting offended by whatever they are saying, you're just going to mock at them. If you're going to get offended by what they're saying, they're going to get what they really want, and I don't want to give them what they want. Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think it's a product of them wanting something. I think they're just bored and like idle.
They are just, yeah, so they're so jobless.
They are
This is
totally
their job.
Sitting free, vela, at home.
So you think there are lots of jobless men out there who have
Absolutely.
nothing better to do than trolling famous women on social media?
Yeah, this is the
men
only
alone,
way of
surprisingly.
getting attention.
It's not men alone.
Are there any
Surprisingly, we
people
have
out
women
there
also
in
who
this
troll.
audience? You never know. Anonymous faces out there who may be following you, who are trolling you out there on social media.
Yeah, that's their way of getting attention, because anyway they're not getting that much attention in their lives. So this is the best possible way they can get attention. So I don't want to give it to them, so I will not get angry at them.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
but Rajiv, I think that's the important thing here again also, as Kush said. It's more of a cultural thing, because there's an innate conservativeness in all of us. You know, we're all brought up that way. Mm-hmm. And it is a question of a generation changing. There is a shift in perceptions. There is a shift in, I'm going to be this way whether you like it or not, vis-a-vis, we're all supposed to be a certain way, you know, men, women, there's a certain order to everything. That's how society works. This is how families work. So I think these are the pains of a society that is kind of birthing into a new age.
That's right. I'm going to ask you in conclusion your views on specific issues that have been making the news. And I want quick, sharp responses from all of you. I'll start with you, Kajal. On each of these issues, I'll get you all to respond. The first issue, triple talaq. What's your view? Should triple talaq be struck off the statute books once and for all or not? Particularly instant triple talaq.
it has to be struck off. It's ridiculous.
Taapsee?
It can't be criminalized, but yes, it shouldn't be. I mean, you can't make that person a criminal. That will be wrong. But just, yeah, it should be struck off otherwise, yeah.
Okay, you and I are on the same boat. Yes.
I think any laws which is going to tell a woman that you cannot grow, you cannot evolve, you cannot be on your own, has to go. So triple talaq definitely needs to go. But again, I say that there have been personal laws and we need to look into that, and it definitely cannot be criminalized. It definitely cannot be criminalized. But triple talaq has to go.
Gautami?
Agreed. Any law that takes away from a woman her right to self-determination and to having her say in any relationship in the direction that it takes cannot be allowed.
Restrictions on condom advertisements. That you can't show condom advertisements in prime time on television, as the government is now dictating. Your view?
Well, if we want to control our population, I think it's a must. You should show condom advertisements because I think some people might get influenced by that and stop producing children.
Well said. Okay. Taapsee?
So after the most polluted city, we'll have another most populated country tag also. At least somewhere we are coming number one. So this is my take on that answer. I think everybody should understand the sarcasm in it if I don't have to specify my answer.
Yes.
I think we need to bring in, I've been talking about sex education in schools at very early stage. I think it's ridiculous that you say that you're going to have condom ads only after 11, like midnight masalas. Guys, you don't make love or you don't have sex after 11. You have it during the day also. So let's bring it and say that we need to put a full stop.
Gautami?
It's not just about procreation, but it's also about safe sexual practices. And I think the idea of prime time is to target the widest possible audience because you're trying to propagate healthy practices among the people. Because it's about curbing illnesses, curbing so many things. If the argument is against offensive content, there are many different ways of looking into that. But as a product, it is something that definitely is for public health.
Okay, let me then ask you on Padmavat. The ban on Padmavat. We'll start with Gautami this time. Do you think a film should be banned simply because the Karni Sena believes that Rajput pride has been hit?
No content should be subject to very microscopic perspectives of smaller sections of society, because it is about society and the nation as a whole. There are many different aspects to this. The freedom of the filmmaker. The problem here, I think, is about regulation. We are still in the throes of a highly regulated society and community, whether it is content, media, whatever it is, and then there's the freedom of speech, and then there are people who are jumping in and saying, this is offending me, so take it off the board.
Too many of us are getting offended.
Absolutely agree with that.
I mean, the right to free speech should include the right to offend as well.
We are very touchy people.
We are very touchy people, yes.
I think nobody has the rights to decide which film should be released or what should be kept when it's released. I think we have CBFC, and let's make it clear, it's a certification about movies. It's not censorship. So it's a certification, and that's why you have different certifications. It starts with U, you don't have PG here, but then you have UA, you have A, and then it goes on. Even on porns, you have X, XXX, and then it goes on.
So if you ever became the I&B minister of the country, would you say, do away with the censor board?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no censor board. It's certification, and we stick to the certification. They decide. That's why you have people on the certification board where they will decide what has to be there or what needs not to be there. And the first thing, I think, no government has the business to interfere with an autonomous body like CBFC and say that they have to decide which is good for their government, which is good for the opposition, and which is good for the people. I think leave it to the people to decide. And it's very sad that every time we have to go knock the doors of the court, of the law to decide for us. We again have the High Court saying and Supreme Court saying that none of the states who have said that they're going to ban the film, they can ban, they have to release the film, and it is the responsibility of the government in these states where they are going to say that they are going to prevent law and order in place and there's not going to be any violence. So it's sad that we keep knocking at the doors of the laws. We need not go there at all.
Okay, Taapsee.
My state of mind, I'll explain. I'm very confused as a person in film industry. If we make a movie on like an adaptation of a Hollywood movie or the frivolous, happy-go-lucky comedies and those larger-than-life films where you don't have any clue of reality, then they're like, Bollywood to ऐसी picture banata hai. ये सब तो मतलब तुम इतनी सारी stories we have in our own history, we have in real life, वो तो बनाता ही नहीं है. And then we make such film, then you ban it. I'm very confused right now. What should we really make films on? Can Karni Sena or any Sena for that matter please give us our do's and don'ts so that we start working towards the right direction to make this Bollywood stand victorious? Yeah, I really want to know those.
Kajal?
Well, I think cinema by itself is supposed to be taking fictional as well as creative liberties. This is not a history textbook. So whatever ban was there is pretty illegitimate.
Okay, you guys have been fascinating. I'm going to ask you one last round. If there's one thing that you would like to see changed in what you have already said is a male-dominated society, what's the first thing that you would like to see change in India?
Women making the decisions.
Okay, women making the... There I can see Renuka Chaudhary cheering loudly, women making the decision. Yes, Khushbu.
Definitely, if a woman can make a home, I think she can make the world. So she makes the world a happy place to be in. And no man is going to disagree with me because they cannot do whether the wives or the mothers. They're absolutely clueless without them. So I think women should be there right at the top in every aspect. The woman has to take the country forward.
Okay.
So I'll tell you, I really want the root cause to be eliminated. First of all, root cause, I mean, I want more women to come into theaters and watch films. It's because we have mostly men coming in and watching the films. All they want to do is lust over a woman. That's why women are just objects. That's why we end up having more male-centric films than female. If more females enter the theater with their kids and family, or more females and want to see probably hot men, we'll have a balance, or otherwise we have female heroes. So I think let's start with having more women walking in theaters. Let's start the gender equality there.
Basically, let's have more women in public spaces, period.
Oh yeah, please, let's move out without getting scared of, I don't know what all.
Yes, Kajal.
Well, all I'd like to say is equality, empowerment and empathy.
Equality, empowerment and empathy. Well, we've had 20% reservation for men on this program because there are 4 women, articulate, and as always said, women make better speakers than men on television. And you've given me one more reason to believe in that.
Off television too.
Absolutely. Off television, on television, women certainly should be on top. Thanks very much for joining us on this program. Give them a very big hand. The personal is the political.
Rajdeep, if I may just, because
I'm even less now. From 20%, I've gone to 15%.
No, but just one quick question: that what's your take about, Taapsee? I remember when you came for Pink, and we did that interview together, and you spoke so powerfully about the message that the film held. But there are also films which objectify women as well, and you have stars like you also in films like that. So what's your take about deciding such
I'll give one clarity. So as Kajal said, we are not history textbooks, nor we are a textbook saying do's and don'ts of society. If you can take back a positive message from a film like Pink, have the mind to discriminate between what is right that you can absorb and what not. It's not like a blind textbook where whatever we show in the film, you have to take everything in a positive way. And adding to that, when that kind of regressive attitude is not celebrated, there is nothing wrong in showing that. Every film has a villain in it, and that villain does nasty stuff. Everyone doesn't need to be a white character in the film. There can be grey patches like all of us in the world. So if that regressive attitude is not celebrated as heroic, it is okay. बाल की खाल निकालने से कुछ नहीं होगा. So that's what I say. We don't celebrate those. I've been a part of a film which everybody, I think you should take the name of the film, Jodwa, in which people thought, oh, it's so regressive, how can she, trust me in a film.
Not about regressive, just about objectifying a woman
Yeah,
in a
so
certain way.
basically, nobody was objectifying me in that film. I wanted to wear a bikini. I wanted to look like a heroine. Sure. I wanted to do whatever I wanted. Nobody forced me to do that. And nobody in that film said that this is the hero of the film who's slapping the bag. You should all go slap the back. No, it's not like that. It's your judgment as well at the end of the day. You are not puppets or those robos who's going to be fed with an answer saying this is right and this is wrong. Now you should have a mind of your own.
No, I think it's a great topic, and just to hear the four of you has been.
Exactly.
Can I just add a point? Can I just add a point to what Taapsee said? I think the word objectifying is very subjective. And as actors, we are all very versatile. We like to be versatile. We like to choose films according to our own choices. And if Taapsee decides to do a Judwa as well as a Pink simultaneously, that's her call as an actor more than anything else. And we all know our boundaries, we all respect our boundaries, and that's about it.
Sure.
But yeah, I just want to add something. There's something that I find very interesting that's just popped up and rather disturbing, is that the negative connotations to a woman who decides to look glamorous, show more skin than, probably, in a sari. And why does that have to be the case? Because looking beautiful, looking glamorous, showing a little more skin than, otherwise, does not in any way imply that you have done something to be apologizing for. It's simply another side of every personality. And don't forget that every actor, every character you see on screen, male or female or otherwise, is simply someone that a part of the audience will see themselves reflected in. So a woman will see herself glamorous and beautiful in that heroine. Another woman who's fighting a battle in her life will see a strong hero there to emulate. Like a man will see so many things in another hero.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And it's
so
an
it's all
interesting
parts of a
conversation
woman.
that we'll take it out. But as you rightly said also, it's the actors the actresses who are also, still called actresses, who face the backlash, and the actor gets away with a lot of things, and that's
No, we're
also
talking
the reality.
about women being objectified, but always had one question to ask. Why is that we never said Hrithik Roshan was objectified in Jodha Akbar? Because tell me one woman who didn't lust behind Hrithik Roshan when he showed his back and fighting that. I lusted for Hrithik Roshan.
That was the time I had a crush
wasn't
on
he objectified? I mean, you're showing his back, you're showing his packs, you're showing his moves, and you're like, wow, this man is a Greek god, and I'm lusting for him, a mother of two kids.
I'm telling you how much Varun felt out of place. And he's like, I am to double role. I'm coming here with my six-pack. Nobody's talking about me. Everybody wants to talk about both of your bikinis. How offended did that man feel working out so much?
So you mean we need to talk more about the six-pack as much as we talk about the bikini?
Yes, absolutely, why not?
Absolutely.
Gender equality.
Why would Shah Rukh Khan go and he come in six packs, yaar? That was gone are the days when girls used to come from, Raj Kapoor films in white saris, Mandakini under that Ganga. And you have Shah Rukh Khan coming out of the water with his bare body and six packs. Come on.
So you lusted for him as well?
No, I lusted only for Hrithik.
Well, no, that was really wonderful, and thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And I think this really is a trendsetter, this conversation. We should be having, more conversation about men's bare backs, bare bottoms, six packs, rather than the women's bikinis. But thank you so much, Rajdeep. And may I please call on stage Sanjay Raghuraman, COO for Kalyan Jewellers, to kindly come and felicitate our speakers for the grand finale. And with this, we also come to the end, to the second edition of the South Conclave. It's been just so wonderful to have you all together. And I really have to appreciate the audience here in Hyderabad. What really struck me is the timing. You always were there on time for the sessions. So once again, a heartfelt thank you from the India Today group. Thank you to all of our sponsors as well. High tea is going to be served just outside the hall, outside the ballroom in the lobby. So do enjoy yourselves. And we hope to see you, all of you, again for our next South Conclave. Have a good evening.